Listen at 610 AM, 102 FM.
I listen, therefore I know.
Online at kvnutalk.com and on the KVNU mobile app.
I listen on the app.
KVNU News Time is 5:05. I'm Bill Walter with this news update brought to you by the Duck Hunter. A 29-year-old Hyde Park man will be released from jail after spending 9 months behind bars for restraining a woman and choking her during a domestic dispute. Caden Peterson has been incarcerated since being arrested last September. Peterson was sentenced during a virtual hearing in First District Court this morning. He previously accepted a plea deal, pleading guilty to one count of attempted kidnapping, amended to a third-degree felony. He also pleaded no contest to charges of aggravated assault, a second-degree felony, and domestic violence in the presence of a child, a third-degree felony. North Park police were called to a domestic dispute at a Hyde Park home September 17th. The victim told officers how Peterson placed a zip tie over her neck and tightened it to the point that she lost consciousness momentarily. He then grabbed her by the hair and dragged her into another room where he zip-tied her wrists to a piece of furniture and began punching her body and face. The woman said the abuse continued until a young child awoke and saw what was occurring. She had significant injuries to her legs, torso, face, and neck. The wounds included severe bruising and finger marks, and a small patch of hair was also missing from her scalp. Defense attorney Joseph Rupp said Peterson had been in jail for 270 days, the recommended sentence for the crimes. He asked for the court to release his client so he could begin working and support his family. Peterson told the court he realized his actions hurt the people he loved the most. He said he was committed to becoming a good father and husband. Cache County Deputy Attorney Griffin Hazard said the domestic assault occurred while Peterson was under the influence. He asked the court to send the defendant to prison. Judge Brandon Maynard sided with Rupp and sentenced Peterson to 270 days in jail. Giving credit for the time already served, he ordered the defendant to be placed on probation and complete counseling. KVNU News Time is 5:07. KVNU weather for tonight. Still a heat advisory in effect until midnight Tuesday night. Mostly clear tonight and overnight, low around 60. And then another hot day tomorrow, upper 90s with southwest winds 10 to 20 miles an hour in the afternoon. Record-breaking warmth today. 97 has been our high. It's 95 right now at KVNU. KVNU weather brought to you by Stevens Forest Products. Pick up bark, mulch, compost, buy it by the bag and save $1 or $2. Buy it in bulk and save even more at 3277 North Main.
Did you just build a home or remodel your current home? Well, if so, John at the Duct Hunter says you should have your heating ducts cleaned as soon as possible and change out to a high-quality furnace filter. The dust from construction, sawdust, drywall, and more is sitting in your duct work. Your furnace filter is probably clogged. You'd be surprised what John has found in air ducts, toys, construction debris, and rodents. Let the Duct Hunter clean the ducts today. Call for a free consultation. The Duct Hunter, 770-4813.
We are the Duct Hunter. Breathe better, save money, protect your home. We are the Duck Hunter.
KVNU News Time is 5:08. The Cache Employment and Training Center has been serving local families for 60 years, and a name that has been closely linked with the center for nearly 40 of those years is Kaylin Beecher. The executive director has recently announced her retirement. On KVNU's For the People program this past Friday, Beecher talked a little about the history of the center. She said it really grew out of the 1950s when parents started to fight for services for their children who had disabilities.
And so in 1961, they came together with the professionals and they made this happen. And it started out as a children's program and over the years progressed to serve adults as well, and just has a rich history of being a very valuable community resource for people with disabilities and their families.
Over the years, Beecher said she has seen the love that families who come into the CETC have for their family member, and what they want is someone who can help them get to that next level and achieve. She said it's been also very encouraging to see the support for the center from others.
That's what I've been thrilled to see over the years is the support that has come for people with disabilities, whether it's through the legislature, whether it's through local mayors. Lyle Hilliard was a great supporter for years and years until he retired. Ed Red, when he was there, just a lot of people who have joined on and supported the cause and made things move forward.
Beecher said a company celebration will be held this Friday and a picnic to celebrate their 60 years. She said all of their clients and families will be there along with staff. She said the new executive director is Sandra Smith, who has been with CETC for 26 years, so she has all the knowledge to carry the program forward. And the upcoming municipal elections will be crowded with local candidates vying for mayoral and city council posts. As previously reported, the mayoral race in Logan will be a three-way contest between incumbent Mayor Holly Daines and challengers Dee Jones and R. Lowell Huber. The three candidates have also filed for the two Logan City Council seats that are in contention in the upcoming municipal election. They are incumbents Amy Z. Anderson and Ernesto Lopez and challenger Keegan Garrity. You can see all the results, all the candidates for all the various cities around the valley at CashValleyDaily.com. KVNU News Time is 5:11. For more details on these and other stories, visit CashValleyDaily.com.
Dave Ramsey from 6 till 9 on News Talk KVNU 102 FM and 610 AM.
Trouble with pain, sleep, or anxiety? Want better health? Try CBD7, the CBD experts. You simply can't get this water-soluble CBD at grocery, convenience, or health food stores. Water-soluble CBD7 absorbs 15 times better and tastes great. CBD7 has the only clinically proven formula with real measurable results. Many feel better in minutes. CBD7 is not a drug and has no side effects. Other CBDs just can't do all that. Visit CBD7 today. Learn about CBD and try our best for free.
Pristine wilderness can still be found in the West, where creeks run freely and historic apple trees still bear fruit. Maple Creek Ranch features breathtaking canyon views and opportunities for real estate development. 2.5-acre lots are now available with adjacent wilderness areas that provide endless riding and recreational possibilities. So find your piece of paradise just 35 minutes from Logan at Maple Creek Ranch. Schedule your appointment online at maplecreekranch.net.
You've talked about it for years.
Someday, I want to take down those trees, build a gazebo, and plant a garden.
For you, that someday is today.
Whole Tree Care is who Cache Valley trusts to prune, shape, and remove trees. Nobody has more experience. Fruit trees, dead trees, overgrown trees. Call Whole Tree Care. 760-6587. Ask about a radio discount. Whole Tree Care, 760-6587. Online at wholetreecare.com.
When we lost Mom, it was tough. The last thing you want to think about during a time like that are funeral arrangements. We made one call to Allen Hall Mortuary. Allen's helped us with Dad 10 years ago, so we knew we could count on them. The Allen's thoughtful service helped make a difficult time a little easier.
This is Jason Allen with Allen Mortuaries, serving Cache Valley for over 80 years. Then, now, always.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. Hour 2 of today's show, Monday, June 14th. I'm Jason Williams. Bill Walter here in the studio with me as well. Be talking about USU's planned Juneteenth celebration. June 19th, of course, this Saturday. The celebration planned for this week on campus. And this is a pretty big event. Details coming up in just a bit here on the show. Starting things off, though, with a story out of Petersboro here in Cache Valley that kind of highlights or contrasts, I guess is a good way to say it, what we were talking about in Hour 1. We were speaking with North Logan City Mayor Damon Cann in Hour 1 about embracing growth, embracing change, and doing it in a way so that you can own the change and retain Cache Valley's character rather than sort of letting the change happen to you as a city or as residents of a city or as neighborhoods, even as individuals, and in that case, not always having control over whether the change reflects Cache Valley's character. You hear it all the time. Keep Cache Valley, Cache Valley. Well, the growth is coming, or staying, I guess is a better way to put it, whether we like it or not. So when the goal is keeping Cache Valley, something I think we could all agree on, especially if you grew up here, doing so is going to require embracing the change, embracing the growth, and making sure it happens in a way that does reflect Cache Valley's character. But then, what is that? We all could disagree on what makes Cache Valley Cache Valley. My answers as a lifelong resident, other than a few years out of state, wouldn't be the same as yours, maybe. With that in mind, story out of Petersboro that is another kind of sort of a not in my backyard controversy, but it's one with some nuance that's worth talking about a little bit, because it's easy to scoff at either side in this debate, I guess you'd say, over a city permit that the city was poised, or is poised at this point at least, to recommend. The Cache County Planning Commission, rather, is poised to recommend approval of a conditional use permit in Petersboro for something pretty innocuous. It would be a conditional use permit for a straw maze, and on the same site, other recreational attractions would happen at different times of year, Halloween, Christmas. So you can imagine maybe a straw maze at certain times, maybe a Christmas light show, walk-through or drive-through location at other times. But you get where I'm going. These are not new things. There are already a couple of different locations like this in Cache Valley, but this would be the first in Petersboro. It would also be the first time that a conditional use permit for commercial use had been authorized. And this has some residents coming out in opposition. And here's the nuance. Again, it's easy to scoff at this idea from either side. It's easy to say, oh, they're just NIMBYs is the word you'll hear. Not in my backyard people. They don't want anything. They think it's cool if it happens, but they don't want it happening near them. It's easy to just kind of write this off as that. But it's not that, because there's a legitimate question here, I think. The residents who are organizing against this conditional use permit, which, again, is about to get or did get thumbs up from the Cache County Planning Commission, part of the necessary process. Residents of Petersboro, specifically here in the CacheValleyDaily.com story, which I've linked to on our Facebook page as well if you'd like to find it there later, Kellen Merritt says he and other local residents, and they've got about 100 in-person signatures so far on this project, they're standing up to oppose this project, not because they hate straw mazes, not because they hate kids having fun, but because they feel that this goes overboard in what I was talking about when we started the hour here, and what we discussed a bit with Mayor Damon Cann for North Logan City's changes in hour one. Merritt and other residents who have joined with him feel that this goes too far in changing the character. It's not embracing change. It's not welcoming something into Petersboro that's never been there before. It's not just that, at least. Their opposition stems from the fact that, they've gathered about 100 in-person signatures, and another 450 people have signed online this petition that is in opposition to this proposed, basically amusement park or amusement site, if you will. Since amusement park brings to mind, roller coasters and things like that. Nothing like that is planned here, as I understand it. So maybe amusement or recreational site, whatever you want to say, in Petersboro. The reason they oppose this is because it would be basically taking what is in Petersboro to date been residential or agricultural land and making it commercial. So the opposition, as I'm understanding it, again, is not to straw mazes in general. It's not to some kind of recreational park or even amusement location of some kind that changes with different holidays and seasons and events. The opposition is to changing from residential agriculture zoning and considerations to commercial, inviting that into the city for the first time. Mara said that with these signatures they've gathered, their appeal is being forwarded to the County Board of Adjustments, And this is a body that has the authority to actually overrule the Cache County Planning Commission. And they're hoping, of course, that this would be stopped. Residents say that they feel that this commercial authorization for the first time in Petersboro would change the city too much. They believe it would be detrimental, that it's going to lead to something they've never had to deal with before, too much traffic, noise and light pollution from the park itself, but also from the crowds coming and going. This is something that residents of Richmond can tell you about with the Cherry Peak location. Those nighttime concerts have been a thorn in the side of Richmond residents for quite a while now, and still no easy solution to that. People leaving late, a lot of noise, a lot of light pollution in what would otherwise be a quiet neighborhood at 11 p.m. or midnight. Instead, a steady stream of cars and noise and light as those concerts let out. That seems to be the concern here in Petersboro, that should something like this be approved and then become really popular, then suddenly they've got, on weekends at least, steady stream of cars blocking the roadways. You can see why this would be a concern, and why I think it goes a little bit further than just that knee-jerk NIMBYism that you'll often see. Because this, I think, is worth considering, their objections. Safety, of course, would be a concern, but if you've been to Petersboro and you're familiar with Petersboro, this would just be a huge change. Now, I'm not saying it shouldn't happen. I'm firmly on the fence on this one. What I'm saying is that I don't think people should write off the objection of these residents as that traditional not in my backyard stuff you see where someone just wants it to happen somewhere else. They're not opposed to it. They just want it to be somewhere else. They don't want it near them. It's a great idea, not near me. That's NIMBYism, not in my backyardism. I think in this case, they have a more legitimate beef that's at least worth the appeal and the exploration. The straw maze, by the way, is the brainchild of Spencer Stokes, a resident of Burley, Idaho, who has operated similar recreational spots over the last several years in many different locations. During the Cache County Planning Commission discussion of this conditional use permit, which was June 3rd, members of the commission commented that we already have Little Bear Bottoms and the American West Heritage Center operating seasonal mazes, and they've presented no significant detrimental effects. There's a lot of traffic at times, especially out there on the highway, which might not be the greatest idea, but it hasn't jammed streets of some of the smaller towns at the south end of the valley and things like that. Merritt, again, a resident of Petersboro in opposition here, said that during the meeting they put up a website that showed the operation and design of their Burley location and showed the straw maze, pumpkin patch, zip lines, swing amusement rides, things like that, and even a compressed air cannon that shot a car, which I kind of want to see. And Merritt said, so what they have in mind goes far beyond a simple straw maze into sort of a carnival that would be located in quiet, sleepy Petersboro. I think they have a legitimate beef. Again, not saying this shouldn't happen, but I do think that there are lines, and maybe those lines will move as times change, as more people come. But I think there are lines of where we need to be able to say, okay, not yet. Maybe not at all ever, but at least not yet. And I think when it comes to Petersboro, something like a carnival would be a good line to draw, right? Something like a straw maze, maybe not as much reason to oppose that. It really depends on what this becomes or what the plan is. But I really think we need to start asking more questions as we go through these discussions. And this is a good question. Check it out. Full story at CacheValleyDaily.com. Petersboro residents organizing to oppose straw maze permit in something that looks to be at least much more than a straw maze in, as I said, normally sleepy, quiet Petersboro, Utah. More of KVNU's For the People and a look at what USU has planned for their big Juneteenth celebration coming up right after this.
Bring back what you've been missing. Bring back Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology.
Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology is Cache Valley's most trusted name in hearing aid technology. Schedule a free consultation with Dr. Paul Danes by calling 753-HEAR or visit cachehearing.com.
Bring back what you've been missing. Bring back Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology.
This is Rod Hammer, Cache County Fire Chief, asking for your help. Due to current and forecasted weather conditions, coupled with the record dry vegetation and extreme fire danger throughout Utah, the state forester has determined that measures must be taken to prevent the ignition of forest and rangeland fires. Therefore, pursuant to state law, the following acts are prohibited until rescinded by the Utah State Forester. No open fires of any kind except within established facilities, in improved campgrounds or day-use areas on public lands, or in permanently constructed fire pits at permanent private dwellings served by pressurized running water. No smoking except within an enclosed vehicle, trailer, or building, a developed recreation site, or while stopped in an area that is paved or free from dry vegetation. No cutting, welding, or grinding metal in areas of dry vegetation. No operating a motorcycle, chainsaw, ATV, or other small internal combustion engine without an approved and working spark arrestor. This order affects all state lands and all unincorporated private lands within the state of Utah. Violations of this order could be punishable by up to 6 months in jail and a fine of up to $1,000.
This is for those who always show they care, who told their kids everyone 12 and older is eligible for a COVID vaccine. Those who explain to their cousins that vaccines prevent nearly 100% of hospitalizations and deaths from COVID-19. This is for the ones protecting those they love. Thank you.
We can do this. Find vaccines near you at vaccines.gov, paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. I'm Jason Williams. Didn't plan this, but today's show is just kind of growth and change oriented. From our first interview with Mayor Damon Cann of North Logan City to the discussion of this opposition to a mixed-use permit authorization in Petersboro for a carnival-style recreation park. This type of thing is just going to become more and more common as population grows. Putting that aside for a little while, another aspect of population growth is going to be, hopefully not too much loss of the culture and character of Cache Valley. That's the goal here, right, is to try and preserve that. But expand this out now into, the rural areas of northern Utah in general, some of those areas in Box Elder County, some of those areas in Rich County, even go beyond the border to some of those areas in the Bear Lake Valley, and then just envision, twice as many people in those areas. And what is going to be a part of all this is, well, you absolutely know that it's going to require a loss of space. These houses and these roads that need to be widened are going to take up space. With that becomes, sometimes you've seen this happen in other areas, sort of an unintentional loss of culture, history, and even character. So in opposition to that, you're starting to see organizations pop up in some of these rural areas with the intent of not stopping change or growth or anything like that, but preserving some of the history of the area and asking residents of northern Utah at large to help them do that. One such organization is called the Friends United for Bear Lake. They operate in the Bear Lake Valley from Garden City on north, and their goal is basically to preserve as much as they can of the rural farming community history and even the pioneering history of northern Utah before it's swallowed up by subdivisions and things like that. Not as easy as it might sound. We had a chance to speak with Friends United for Bear Lake President Lori Rich, and she talked a bit about how they're doing this, but also why.
Paris alone has 90 homes on the historical register that was been put on since 1980.
That's, and you can see it when you drive through. If you go, most of us here in Cache Valley probably know the route. If we've gone around to the east beach of Bear Lake, the state park there, you drive through some beautiful area there. but you will see a lot of very old homes, very old farm buildings, barns and things like that, many of them preserved and still in use today. But people forget that this is an area that harbored some large communities before even some places here in Cache Valley were populated. This opportunity for people to get out and learn about this is a rare thing. How did you get involved and become interested in the history of the area?
Well, my husband is a great-grandson of Charles C. Rich, and so we live on some of the property that Charles C. Rich owned here, and we saw that our children leave this valley, but they always want to come back, and what brings them back is their roots.
Sure.
And we wanted to preserve that, and we wanted to preserve these structures because they were I've seen them slowly, people buying them and they'll change them and then they won't be on the register anymore because of the changes, or they've demolished them.
Sure. And once that happens, the history is gone, right?
Right. And we just lost our courthouse this year that was demolished, and that's sad. But we do have pictures of it that we'll use for our recording.
That is, speaking of pictures, that's a great segue into, so your first event this summer is coming up just this Saturday. And for listeners, this is a free event. It's free to the public, and it happens this Saturday at the Thomas Nye home there in Paris, 52 East 1st South. And it's a Bear Lake Valley Heritage Photo Show. All of this culminating at 7:30 p.m. With a People's Choice Award. This is the community gets to vote on their favorite. And there are a few examples on the Friends United for BearLake.org website to show you what we're talking about here. This is the kind of stuff, Lori, that for those of us here in Cache Valley, this is the kind of stuff that people buy framed and hang on their wall. But this is a photo show of just snapshots from around the valley, right?
Yes, when we wanted to preserve the history, and that was what we wanted to do, is show the history and the beautiful things that are in the valley and the talent. There is so much talent in this valley that needs to be shown off. Not just photographers, but artists and musicians and authors.
When I think of the Bear Lake Valley, I've spent many weekends every summer, my entire life over there with my family, with others. I think hollyhocks, I think old barns, I think, that scenic view that many people would buy and hang framed on their wall, but just something you can see out your car window as you drive slowly through town there. But this is a long, rich history of establishing a community, a farming community, and changes have affected the Bear Lake Valley just like everywhere else as populations have grown. As you mentioned, becoming more challenging to preserve some of this history. What response do you get from the community as you go out as an organization and try to preserve and teach about this history? Are people excited that's happening?
I think, there's people that really like to save history, and so that it is important. Especially the people that come in the summertime, they have a special interest in preserving the history because they know what we have. Sometimes the local people forget because they're right here amongst them. It takes the outsiders to come in and see what we have that they have lost. Paris is unique, and it's one of the few towns that show how a Mormon settlement was established, with the 1 mile by east and west and 1 mile north and south, and the layout in the town. And we're unique in that we have been able to preserve this.
Sure.
To show other towns were started this way, but Paris still is the simple layout that it was in 1863 when it was established.
That's amazing. And just one example of some of the history that's there to be presented. For listeners, again, this Saturday, the Bear Lake Heritage Photo Show takes place. Starts at 6:30 p.m. at the Thomas Nye Home. Historic Home and Garden Show takes place. And this is Paris and Bloomington, Idaho. But a chance to get out and actually learn the history of some of these homes that, again, many of us have just driven past, but a lengthy history behind each and every one, right?
Right. They all have a home has a history just like individuals.
That is
and at this event, we hope to have wagon rides and local musicians. Cody's is going to provide box lunches.
Ooh, that's reason enough right there.
And there will be an art show. At each of the homes, we hope to have something special going on along with the viewing the homes.
That was, again, Lori Rich, president of the Friends United for Bear Lake Historical Preservation Organization, a nonprofit organization. Their website, friendsunitedforbearlake.org. Again, that Bear Lake Heritage Photo Show has come and gone. That was last Saturday. But the Hollyhock Historic Home and Garden Tour that we discussed is coming up. The Folklore and Apple Cider Social event is coming up. And many other events planned by the Heritage Summer Series organization there in the Bear Lake Valley. This is an opportunity. Again, you're going to see things like this happen more and more. A group popping up in Box Elder County, looking at preserving some of the history out there in some of those very remote areas. Also, some groups here in northern and southern Cache Valley, hoping to preserve some at-risk heritage there as well. This is growing pains, but it's something that everyone can get out and support. Their website, again, friendsunitedforbearlake.org. Thanks again to Lori Rich. Stay tuned for more on that Hollyhock Historic Home and Garden Tour coming up from the Bear Lake Friends United for Bear Lake Valley organization. That's coming up August 14th. And all of this information available again at their website, friendsunitedforbearlake.org. We'll be back with more of For the People on the other side. Take a look at what USU has planned for Juneteenth. Also, for those not familiar, what is Juneteenth? We'll answer that question after these headlines with KVNU's Bill Walter.
Thank you, Jason. KVNU News Time is 5:37. The news brought to you by Mount Logan Laundry. Law enforcement has released the identity of a 41-year-old Smithfield man killed in a two-vehicle crash this morning in Logan. Adam J. Rounds was pronounced dead at the scene after the car he was driving pulled out in front of a dump truck traveling northbound on 1000 West. Logan City Police Assistant Chief Jeff Simmons said Rounds was driving a green sedan westbound on 1800 North at about 8:40 a.m. At the intersection with 1000 West, he attempted to turn left, pulling in front of a large dump truck that was traveling northbound.
All indications are that the vehicle did stop prior to proceeding out onto 10th West, and then that's when the collision occurred. So it sounds like that there was a stop. So.
Rounds was killed on impact. He reportedly leaves behind a wife and 3 children, 2 boys and a girl. Simmons explained investigators are trying to determine what may have caused Rounds to pull in front of the truck. They believe he may have been distracted by nearby traffic pulling off of 1000 West.
The driver of the dump truck did sustain some minor injuries. He was treated at the scene.
Traffic along 1000 West was detoured for several hours between 1400 North to 2500 North while officers investigated the crash. Simmons said officers were assisted by troopers from the Utah Highway Patrol and deputies from the Cache County Sheriff's Office. Funeral services are being organized. A 23-year-old man was arrested on suspicion of stealing a truck, leading police officers on a chase and then crashing the car into a crashing the truck, that is, into a townhome in Logan. According to Logan City Assistant Police Chief Jeff Simmons, police responded to a vehicle theft call at 7-Eleven near 1400 North Saturday evening. The caller told them a man, later identified as Jesse Angel Oliva, age 23, had jumped into a red Dodge pickup truck and drove off with it. Officers arrived at the scene and contacted the owner of the truck. They later met with police at 1400 North, 200 West. As the victim spoke with police, they saw the stolen truck moving westbound on 1200 North. According to an arrest report, the truck's window was rolled down, and police said they were able to match the suspect's description with the driver. The officer on scene commanded Oliva to stop, but he sped off, leading to the chase. He later crashed the truck into a townhome near the intersection of 1140 North, 400 West. Sometime later, officers received a call stating that they saw a man matching the description going inside of a house 1 block east of the crash. Police responded back to the area and recognized Oliva. He was later taken into custody after police set a perimeter around the residence. And fire crews are making progress containing several wildfires across Utah despite high temps and windy conditions that prompted officials to issue a red flag warning across much of the state. Nearly 300 firefighters on Sunday had contained 10% of the lightning-caused Bear Fire, which had charred 16 square miles, several miles northwest of Helper. The Salt Lake Tribune reports containment doubled from Saturday, and that crews hope to remove vegetation ahead of the fire. We do have a heat advisory in effect until midnight Tuesday night. More hot weather on the way this week in Cache Valley. Overnight low tonight around 60, and then upper 90s tomorrow. Southwest winds 10 to 20 miles an hour in the afternoon. It's been to 97, which is a record. It's 96 right now at KVNU. KVNU weather brought to you by Cache Valley Pharmacy, featuring the best prices in the valley and, as always, free delivery. If you're in the market for a prescription, check with Cache Valley Pharmacy first for the absolute best price, especially on compounds and insulin. Order your prescriptions online at CacheValleyPharmacy.com. For more details on these and other stories, visit CacheValleyDaily.com.
Make laundry a snap with the large load washers and dryers at Mount Logan Laundry. Rather than 8 to 10 loads at home, get the job done in 1 or 2 with their 55 or 80-pound washers and 80-pound dryers that are perfect for sleeping bags, comforters, and other big items. Mount Logan Laundry has free Wi-Fi and drop-off service, plus they're open until midnight. Mount Logan Laundry really is the cleanest spot in town. Find them at 5th East and 9th North in Logan or in Brigham City on the corner of 1st East and 7th South.
Attention homeowners, you may have noticed the ground shift after your foundation has been poured, causing your house to sink or settle. Protect your investment from issues before they happen. Polylift concrete raising and piering will stabilize, lift, and eliminate further settling by using Magnum piering products to save you big money down the road. Polylift concrete raising and piering are the foundation lifting experts. Visit poly-lift.com to schedule your free assessment or call or text 435-999-9309. Polylift is locally owned and operated.
Hey, it's Al Lewis. Happy spring. I love this beautiful weather, but if you struggle with CPAP, you may not be getting the sleep you need to go outside and enjoy it. Fortunately, now there's Inspire, a sleep apnea treatment that works inside your body with just the click of a remote. That's right, a button. No mask, no hose, just sleep. Learn more at InspireSleep.com. Inspire is not for everyone. Talk to your doctor to see if it's right for you. And review important safety information at InspireSleep.com.
Projects outside go much better after a stop by Stevens Forest Products. Pick up bark, mulch, or compost by the bag for $1 or $2 less at Stevens, or buy it in bulk and save even more. Stevens is also your best source for flagstone, perfect for patios and walkways. Choose from 7 color choices. Pick up a few pieces or take home a pallet. Delivery options are available. Stevens is also home to over 5,000 in-stock railroad ties with prices beginning at $13.99. Stevens Forest Products, between Smithfield and Logan at 3277 North Main.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. I'm Jason Williams. Juneteenth coming up. What is it exactly? Well, this is not a really new holiday. It's just new in the wide understanding of what it is, thanks in part to a lot of different things. The state of Utah, for example, designated Juneteenth an official state-recognized holiday. A couple of years ago, there was an amazing Netflix documentary called Juneteenth, or called The 19th, that kind of digs into the history of this, but also why this 1 year, because this is a celebration of a date, actually 1 year after the important date. Why? Well, it's complicated. Juneteenth, June 19th, is a commemoration of the emancipation of enslaved people in the United States. The Emancipation Proclamation and the 13th Amendment freed African Americans here in the United States. But that wasn't the end of it. You've all been taught of or read about the history of Jim Crow laws and things like that, a direct backlash to the Emancipation Proclamation signing and things like that. There's also a long road ahead for African Americans on many fronts when it comes to everything from employment to housing opportunity. And so this holiday, if you will, is a commemoration of that, really, even though it's a specific celebration of the date of first celebrated 1 year after the date of the Emancipation Proclamation, therefore known as Emancipation Day for decades, or Day of Freedom is another name you'll hear the 19th referred to as. They're celebrating again the specific date of June 19th, and it was first celebrated June 19th, 1866 in Galveston, Texas, exactly 1 year after enslaved African Americans in the state of Texas learned of their freedom due to the Emancipation Proclamation and, again, the 13th Amendment. It's been a holiday since, or a celebration since, but only in recent years has it been widely recognized by states. There's a push to get this to be a federal holiday as well. We'll see where that goes. But it's an interesting history, to say the least, to review, to look back over. I mentioned the Netflix documentary, the June 19th, or the 19th, I'm sorry. But also there's a long list of events you can get out to acknowledge and be a part of this commemoration / celebration of a monumental event in United States history, but also the long battle against racism, bigotry, and inequality in general here in the United States, which is ongoing still. So Utah State University has been commemorating Juneteenth for a few years now, quite a few. And they have always made this an educational event as well as kind of an event with a celebratory feel. And that's the case this year as well, with some competitive kickball games planned, I hear, and also an opportunity to be a part of a gigantic survey at the conclusion of this day-long festival. It's USU's way of not only acknowledging June 19th and its importance in United States history, but for every African American in the country. In fact, I'd argue for everyone in the country. But it's also an opportunity for USU to turn this into an opportunity for activism as well, what people can do to fight for equality, which, again, is still a long fight going on today. Well, KVNU's Craig Hislop had a chance to speak with one of the organizers of this year's Juneteenth celebration at Utah State University, graduate student Jamal Jared Alexander. Craig, take it away.
Well, thank you, Jason. This is the week for the Juneteenth celebration at Utah State University. It commemorates the final day that Black and African Americans were informed of their freedom from slavery when June 19, 1865, word reached Galveston, Texas, that 3 months earlier, the 13th Amendment had been signed into law, and in essence, it freed the slaves. Two USU graduate students, Jamal Jared Alexander and Amand Hardiman, are leading the effort to organize these events this week. Jamal Jared joins us. 46 states have passed legislation to make it a state holiday or a state observance, but there are those in our country who would like to see Juneteenth become a national holiday. I would guess that you would probably be part of that group.
Yes, that is accurate. We have a petition that our community here in Cache Valley will be able to sign to try to make that a state holiday and a national holiday, actually, on June 19th at our Juneteenth festival that will take place at the USU Legacy Field.
I understand Ms. Opal Lee, 94 years young and known as the grandmother of Juneteenth, is going to be joining you at some point virtually. When will that happen?
Yes, we are delighted to have Ms. Opal Lee join us. That will be on Thursday, June 17th, from 6 to 8 p.m. And we will have that link available on our Juneteenth website, so that way our USU community and Cache Valley community will be able to get online and see that wonderful interview that will be led by Ms. Betty Sawyer, who is a member of the NAACP.
And also you're honoring current and former Black alumni of USU?
That is accurate.
Tell us about, or can you tell us about some of them?
Yes, we have another panel that will be taking place on Friday entitled What is Activism? A Call to the Community, where we have a few alumni athletes, African American and Black athletes, that will be joining us, along with some current student athletes at USU that will be on that panel, just discussing activism in their current professional and or academic roles as students and as professionals. So we are looking forward to that conversation, and that will be moderated by myself and Mr. Hardiman as well.
This week will include a series of events. It looks like one of the highlights is going to be that Unity barbecue on Saturday. When is that, the time, and where is it at, and who's invited?
The entire Cache Valley community will be invited to that event. So please come out if you have the time. Bring your family, your friends, any and everyone. That will take place again on Saturday, June 19th from 11 to 2 p.m. At the USU Legacy Field. So that is right next door to the Arc. And we're looking to have a Unity kickball game. So we will have mini games out there for kids and adults. And make sure you bring your dancing shoes, because we will have a lot of music out there. And we really just wanted to have fun and bring unity to this community while also celebrating the importance and the significance of Juneteenth.
Anything else you want to tell us about any other events?
Right now, no, sir. We're just thankful that we have our university sponsors supporting us and allowing Amon and I to take the lead on this. And we are excited to share our history, our stories, and continue to support Black and African American voices throughout the nation.
Jamal Jared Alexander, good of you to take some time to tell us about this event, and would you please pass along our regards to your co-chair, Amon Hardiman, who is an old friend of ours.
I shall do. I thank you for your time.
Jason and Bill, let's get back to you guys.
Thank you, Greg. And Jamal Jared Alexander, Greg's guest there again, one of the organizers of this USU's Juneteenth celebration, officially taking place Saturday, as Greg mentioned there, June 19th. But USU is planning a week-long lead-up to the June 19th commemoration of Emancipation Day, or Day of Freedom, as it was also known here in the United States. That starts today with some recorded opening remarks from Jamal Jared Alexander. We're just visiting with Craig there, and others involved in organizing this event. Tomorrow, there is a video educational mini-series that will be available. And then, again, events happening all week long leading up to that June 19th Saturday celebration that Craig and Jamal Jared Alexander were just discussing there. The full schedule is available at usu.edu/inclusion/Juneteenth. And I've linked to that on our Facebook page as well. And I'd also recommend, if you have a Netflix account, check out the Netflix documentary-style dramatization of the Juneteenth, that first celebration, and what it meant and why that commemoration was so important 1 year after the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation and the 13th Amendment. That documentary on Netflix called The 19th, or just look for the letters or the numbers 19. You'll find it there on Netflix. Really interesting and eye-opening, to say the least. But again, usu.edu/inclusion/Juneteenth for the full list of events. And as Greg and Jamal Jared were discussing there, the Juneteenth Festival, Solidarity and Unity, playing out finally, day-long event, Saturday, June 19th, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Utah State University, the University Inn, and many other locations. All the details you need and registration links and more via the website. Again, usu.edu/inclusion/Juneteenth. And we'll be back with more of KVNU's For the People right after this.
Metal Mart is everyone's metal store. So come on in and see what you can do at Metal Mart. If you are welding, building, fixing, or repairing, Metal Mart is your metal source. With one of the biggest selections of metal products, including aluminum and stainless steel, you'll be amazed at the selection of items available to you. Now, when it comes to buying metal, Metal Mart understands that not everyone knows what they need when it comes to metal products. We understand that not everyone works with metal every day, so let us help. Come on into Metal Mart at our Lehigh or Logan stores and let our awesome sales force take care of you. Projects big or small, we can serve them all. For 27 years, Metal Mart has provided excellent service to all customers. So, no matter your knowledge or skill level, when you need metal, come to everyone's metal store. Metal Mart, serving all of Utah and the surrounding states. Metal Mart is ready to serve. Call today in Lehigh at 801-768-3332 or Logan at 435-363-9001. Visit online at metalmart.biz. Open to all. Metal Mart is ready to help you. See you soon.
It's a perfect summer. Call Beaver Creek Lodge and rent a side-by-side or schedule a horseback ride and see beautiful Logan Canyon like you've never seen it before. Take a horse ride into Swan Peak, Horse Lake, or Steam Mill Canyon. Popular side-by-side rides can take you to the Paris Ice Caves, Temple Peak, or Ephraim's Grave, even into St. Charles for lunch or maybe a raspberry shake. See Logan Canyon by horseback or on a side-by-side rental from Beaver Creek Lodge. Call right now and get it scheduled. Go to beavercreeklodge.com. Beaver Creek Lodge. Small lodge, big adventure.
He's cared and watched out for you your entire life. Even taught you how to catch a fish and swing a bat. But now that he's in his senior years, it's your turn to care for Dad. Giving your aging loved one the attention he or she needs can be challenging, which is why there's Legacy House of Logan. From bathing and dressing to help with medicine, cooking, and housekeeping, Legacy House of Logan is your extra set of hands with an extra gentle touch on 1400 North in Logan and online at legacylogan.com.
Welcome back to KVN News for the People, and thank you for joining us today. That is our show in a nutshell. Tomorrow on the program, a couple of different things to get to, starting with the Cache Valley Monarch Society. They are hosting a huge event coming up later in June to celebrate the, eclectic nature of the Cache Valley when it comes to flying insects, monarch butterflies, and more. But all of this being done to highlight the fact that the monarchs are in trouble. You may have read some about this, monarchs joining bees on the long list of things we take for granted but can't live without, literally. And they're in trouble. There are a lot of different reasons for this. The Cache Valley Monarch Society is hoping to raise awareness of this trouble, but also some really simple things people can do to make their yards, their neighborhoods more monarch and general butterfly friendly, things you can do to attract them in, give them food as they make their long migration north and then back, but also things we're doing that might be contributing to their demise that we could easily stop doing. So that will be the discussion tomorrow on the program as we're joined by members of the Cache Valley Monarch Society, talking about a June 24th event they have coming up in Nibley. You'll want to be tuned in for this one, to say the least. I want to give this one more mention here as well for listeners. We're going to be speaking with candidates very soon here on the show, starting next week, and we're going to churn through them as fast as we can. But I want to plug the elections in general for everyone to get involved. And there's another opportunity for you to do that. At CacheValleyDaily.com, story titled, Candidates Queue Up for Local Municipal Elections, alongside profiles of, for example, the 3 candidates for the 2 open city council seats in Logan City. You can also find here at CacheValleyDaily.com a full list of every open seat in the valley and the candidates who have filed for election in those seats. There are a handful of uncontested races, but for the most part, almost every city in the valley has at least one race with a challenger and an incumbent, or in some cases, 2 complete newbies. So it's an opportunity for you to get to know what's going on in Cache Valley. Maybe you don't know of one that's happening right there in your own city. Check it out. The story again at CacheValleyDaily.com. Candidates queue up for local municipal races. Definitely worth your time. And we'll be talking with these candidates individually here on the show starting next week and for the foreseeable future as campaigns really start to heat up here in Cache Valley, usually around the first part of September. Well, we're going to give you all an early look at your choices on the ballot. So check it out. Again, the story at CacheValleyDaily.com. Stay tuned for a schedule of candidate interviews here on For the People. And stay tuned right now for Dave Ramsey next here on KVNU Logan.
Newsmakers, the stories.
This is a situation that is rapidly spinning out of control.
Get it all here. News Talk KVNU.